All right, I'm actually going to skip number 1 and come back to it because once I do number 2, I think number 1 will make more sense. So they're asking for the value of d of x. So they're asking you to use Cramer's rule. And Cramer's rule says this: the determinant of the x coefficients over the determinant of the total coefficients, and the determinant of the y coefficients over the determinant of the total coefficients. That's your solution to this system of inequalities. Sorry, there we go. All right, so they're just asking for this dx value. So the way that you get, that's a determinant, and the way we get the determinant of x is, see, my coefficients would be 3, -3, -1, 5. But when they're asking for the determinant of x, I replace the x coefficients with the solutions. So my dx, or my x coefficients, would be -113 and then still -1,5. So I took out the 3 and -3. And now I need to find the determinant of that. So remember, determinant is multiply, so -1 times 5, minus multiply, -13 times -1. So that's -5 minus 13, so -18 is my dx. So that's using Cramer's rule. So now if you go back to to number 1, it's asking how to find infinitely many. And on infinitely many, your dx has to equal 0, your dy has to equal 0, and your d has to equal 0. So in this case, that would be, if I replace xy, sorry, that shouldn't have a line on it. So that'd be dx minus b. Oh, I'm sorry, I should have replaced the EF. I knew that didn't look right. So DE minus BF needs to equal 0, and also AF minus EC needs to equal 0. If both of those equal 0, then it is infinitely many. So I think the answer to number 1 is true. All right, number 3, they're asking us to find the intersection. So we're actually going to use Cramer's rule. So first I'm going to do the determinant of my original matrix. So that'd be 50 minus 27. So that's 23. Then I'm going to replace the x values, so -19 and -1, 3 and 5. So I'm going to find the determinant of that. So that's -95 minus -3. So -92. So my x coordinate is going to be -92 over 23, which is -4. I'll simplify it in just a minute. And then I do the same thing with y. So the 10 and the 9 go back, and the y values get replaced with the -19 and the -1. So -10 minus, so 19, -19 times 9 minus -171. So -10 minus -171 is 161, and that'd be 161 divided by 23. So this is -4, and 161 divided by 23 is 7. So your intersection is -4, 7. All right, number 4, we're setting up an augmented matrix. So the first thing I need to do is I need to get this in x, y equals order. So I'm going to rearrange this. So 5x minus 2y equals -19. So it goes x, y equals. And so this one would be, I'm going to add x. So that's going to be 8x plus 5y equals -55. So in the augmented matrix, this would be 5. A4 is 8. A2 is -2. A5 is 5. A3 is -19. So the piece they wanted was A3, A4, and A5. All right, I think we're solving number 5, so same thing. I'm going to use Kramer's rule, or we can use augmented matrix, either one. So I'm going to rearrange this. So 5x plus 3y equals negative 31. And then 4x minus 2y equals negative 22. So if I'm going to use Kramer's rule, my D is 5, 4, 3, and negative 2. So that'd be negative 10 minus 12, so negative 22. I'm going to replace the x values with my solutions. So it would be negative 31 and negative 22, 3 and negative 2. So that would be 62 minus negative 66. So 128. And then my y's, I replace my y values. So the 5 and the 4 come back. My y values get replaced with the negative 31 and the negative 32. So negative 110 minus negative 124. So let's see, that's negative 110 plus 124, which is 14. So it would be 128 over negative 22 and 128 over 14. Let me see if those simplify. 128 over 22. 64 over 11. That's an awful number. Let me check that one just to be sure. And then 128 over 14. I mean, they're not guaranteed to come out even. That one doesn't come out either. So 64 over 7. Let me check and make sure my math is right. If I move my 2y, my 4x over minus, oh, it's plus 2y. Well, that explains that. That's going to change everything. Okay, so that's going to make this positive 10 minus 12, so that's negative 2. Okay. And this one will be 62 minus negative 66. So that one, somehow I got that one right. I don't know what I was doing. So, but that definitely changes things for it to be over negative 2 instead of negative. Yikes. Okay. That makes some whole numbers at least. So that makes it negative 64 over, I even wrote that one upside down, so 14 over negative 2, negative 7. There we go. That's better. Okay. Number 6. All right, so this is a 3x3 matrix. I would put this in as an augmented matrix. So on your calculator, you're going to go second matrix, and we're going to edit A. And I'm going to put it in as a 3x4. That's an augmented matrix. So I'm putting my coefficients 4. See if you can see that. Make sure you can see that. 4, 5, negative 6, and then the solution goes in the last column. Negative 3, negative 2, 7, and negative 15. Negative 1, 4, 2, and negative 13. All right, so now I stored that in matrix A. I'm going to do second in matrix, and we're going to do matrix math. I arrow up because it's easier to RREF. That's reduced row echelon. And then I have to tell it that I want, I need to get out of this. Hold on, second quit. Sorry. Second quit first. Second matrix, math, RREF, and I need to tell it what matrix I want in there. So second matrix 1, so it says A. Ooh, I needed to RREF, not REF. Second matrix, sorry. Math, RREF. Second matrix 1. And my solutions are -3, x is -3. So you can see all that. X is -3, y is -2, and z is -4. And then the last one, got that? The last one is, they've done some reduced row echelon. They're doing the reduced row echelon form. So at the top, they've given me the original. They've given me a step 2 and a step 3. So the first thing it asks is what happens on step 2. And if you look, my step 2, row 2 and row 3 are just swapped. So you had a drop down. So they swapped. I don't know how they write it, but usually it would be like this, row 2 and row 3 with the double arrows in between. They just swapped those 2 rows. Now, to go from row 2 to row 3, they're telling us what to do. They want us to multiply row 1 by -3 and then add that to row 3. So, and I'm going to replace row 3. So if you look, I'm multiplying row 1. So I'm going to multiply row 1 by -3, and I'm going to add that to row 3. So -3 times 1 is -3 plus 3 gives me 0. -3 times 2 is -6 plus 9 gives me, this would be a 3. -3 times -1 is +3 plus 4 would give me 7. -3 times 1 is -3 plus 0 is -3. -3 times 0 is 0, so that's still 1, and -3 times 0 is 0 plus 0. So my B value should be 3, my C value is 7, and my D value is -3.